Hey, what's up everybody? John here from TestPrepInsight.com, and today I'm going to be comparing the three biggest companies in language learning: Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, and Babbel. There are literally dozens of language learning apps on the market today, but there's no doubt that these three are the most popular. So if you're ready to take a look and get my thoughts, let's get to it. Okay, welcome back. I should mention up front here that since I'll just be focusing on the major highlights and lowlights of each of these apps in this video today, if you find you need more detail at any point, we also have a full, in-depth written comparison over on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight, Duolingo versus Rosetta Stone versus Babbel. It's a quick way to find it. Alright, so here's how I'm going to break down this video. First, I'm going to run through each of these three apps one at a time to give you a brief overview of how each app works, as well as my thoughts, and then circle back for a quick verdict at the end on which one I would personally choose. And let's start with Rosetta Stone, since they've been around the longest. So here's how Rosetta Stone works. The program is made up of around 20 learning units. It does depend on your language, but around 20 generally. And each unit covers a different topic or category like greetings and introductions, transportation, feelings, professions and hobbies, etc. Then within each unit, there are 4 primary lessons. And each lesson contains one core 30-minute learning module and 3 to 15 supplemental drills that are typically 5 or 10 minutes in length. So if you wanted to complete an entire lesson, it'll likely take you right around an hour or so. And that's really it in terms of structure. You've got 20 units, 4 lessons per unit, and each lesson is comprised of a variety of exercises and drills. But in terms of what the actual Rosetta Stone lessons are like, they're essentially a combination of images and recorded audio. You're going to spend most of your time listening to a word or phrase, repeating that word or phrase, and then matching it up to a corresponding image. Think of the Rosetta Stone lessons and drills as sort of an interactive flashcard, if you will. For example, say you're learning Spanish. You'll listen to a voice say La Niña Bebé, and then you'll click an image of a little girl drinking a glass of juice to match the two up. The idea is that you have to rely on visual cues, intuition, and inference as you gradually acquire the language content necessary to move on to the next lesson or unit. You'll start with 1 or 2 word building blocks and progress to longer, more grammatically complex sentences as you reach the higher levels. And that's really it. There are some bonus features and extra resources around these primary lessons, but that's the meat and potatoes of the Rosetta Stone program. So let me tell you now what I like about this structure and lesson design and what I don't. 1. The speech recognition technology. Rosetta Stone has some awesome speech recognition software that is super accurate and gives you great feedback on your pronunciation. 2, it's great for visual learners. Because of all the imagery and pictures, the Rosetta Stone system is great for people that learn visually. And 3rd, some of those bonus resources that I mentioned are pretty cool. Rosetta Stone gives you bonus video lessons, short stories, phrase books, and podcasts, among other tools. For people going the extra mile, they're pretty useful. Then, as for the things that I don't like about Rosetta Stone, the first and clearest thing is how repetitive the lessons are. They are just unbelievably monotonous. You sort of end up doing the same style of drill over and over and over. It just wore on me a little bit over time. Then, the second thing I wasn't crazy about is the lack of emphasis on grammar. Rosetta Stone seems to place a big emphasis on learning language chunks, which is important, but not actual grammar. And that makes it kind of hard to truly learn when you're not getting lessons in verb conjugations, how to structure sentences, and the like. And lastly, there are barely any translations in the Rosetta Stone program. They are a full immersion program, making it sort of sink or swim. Without English guidance and translations, it can be kind of frustrating. And that's the Rosetta Stone program. But real quick, before we jump into Babbel, I just realized we haven't talked about pricing or cost yet. And what I'll say here is that in terms of regular pricing, all 3 of these companies are in the same general ballpark. Duolingo does have a limited free version. I'll talk about that more in their section. But in terms of paid plans, all 3 cost somewhere in the range of $7 to $12 per month, making them pretty comparable. However, what I'll say is that Rosetta Stone, Babbel, and Duolingo all seem to run pretty frequent sales and special promotions, so be sure to check the description below for coupon codes. We track and aggregate the most current discounts for all these language learning companies, and I'll keep that text down below the video screen updated with the best discounts and deals out there that I can find for you. Anyway, now let's talk about Babbel. Here's how their program works. Essentially, they have different levels that range from total newbie to advanced, like newcomer level 1, beginner level 2, or pre-intermediate. You get it. And within each of these levels, there are 2 to 6 courses. And within each course, there are somewhere between 5 to 15 lessons, which each take around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So you can sort of think of their program structure like a pyramid. You've got overarching levels at the top, courses below, and lessons at the bottom. Those are going to be your building blocks and what you'll work on daily. Altogether, there's about 275 hours of lesson work across all the primary levels and courses. And as for the lessons themselves, they are very short. Like I just said, each one is only about 10 to 15 minutes long and they go by super fast. And that's because each lesson is made up of several quick hit interactive drills and exercises. For the first 2 minutes, you might be listening to new words and phrases and then repeating them. Then the lesson will quickly transition into a digital flashcards drill for a few minutes. From there, you'll read a short note on how to conjugate certain verb types or use prepositions. Then you'll reconstruct phrases by using your keyboard, and afterwards you might be asked to follow a short mock conversation and fill in the blanks. It's just a very fast-moving, blended approach, which I personally really appreciate. And that's the Babbel program in a nutshell. Like Rosetta Stone, they do have some cool extras like podcasts, supplemental audio lessons, language games, and vocab practice, but that's the main coursework. So let's run through what I like and don't like. 1. The review sessions. So one thing I didn't mention is that every time you log into Babbel to do your daily lesson, they give you a short review session. It takes just 2 to 3 minutes and you get a quick refresher on stuff you've already learned. This spaced repetition is awesome for boosting retention. 2nd, the variety. I love how Babbel throws the same content at you in a variety of different ways and really forces you to interact with the material. And as a result, you really don't get bored. In this way, it's a lot different from Rosetta Stone. Babbel just does a great job of keeping your attention. 3, the quick hit nature. I love that Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes. Like a lot of people, I don't have an hour every day to complete hour-long lessons, so I like that Babbel keeps their lessons super tight and I can keep making progress every day with just a few minutes. And one last thing, grammar. Babbel places a much greater emphasis on grammar than Rosetta Stone and Duolingo, who I'll get to here in a second. It's not over-the-top coverage, and they do an awesome job of efficiently weaving it into their daily lessons. It's hard to explain, but it's a very smart way in which they do it. And in fact, to see what I'm talking about, make sure to check out that written guide that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. I'll have a link for that down below in the description. Anyway, as for the things I don't like, I don't have as many with Babbel. The one thing I'd say mainly is that their voice recognition software isn't as powerful as the other two. Rosetta Stone has some killer voice tech, and even Duolingo's is very good. Babbel has the same style of voice software, but it's just not as accurate or robust. There were times when I knew I'd be saying something that didn't quite sound right, but it would let it slide. That honestly is my only real knock on Babbel as compared to the other two. And lastly, we've got Duolingo. But before I get to that, I should mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free lifetime subscription to a language learning program to one lucky person. It's just a way of saying thank you for supporting the channel. It's super simple to enter. Everyone out there is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description, but just know, it takes like 10 seconds to enter, and hey, you never know. You could win a totally free pass to one of these companies that I'm talking about here today. Anyway, Duolingo. And I'll be honest here, this is a little preview of my verdict, but I did not like Duolingo as much as the other two. Duolingo to me is kind of like Babbel Lite. The program is similar to Babbel's in many ways, but just not as deep or comprehensive. Let me break it down for you. Essentially, Duolingo structures their course around checkpoints, and within each checkpoint, there are 20 to 30 modules. Each module covers something from a basic grammar principle to more thematic topics like feelings and travel. Then each module is made up of 6 levels, and within each level, there are 3 to 4 lessons. And I know that might sound a little confusing, but it's really not too bad once you're inside the program and see what I'm talking about. Basically, there are different modules you need to complete, and each module consists of several levels and lessons. That's the basic framework. As for the lessons themselves, like I said, they're a lot like Babbel's. They're very short and only take 5 to 10 minutes to complete. And that's largely because each lesson is made up of a dozen or so quick hit interactive drills and exercises. These exercises include listening drills, fill in the blanks, matching pairs, verbal practice, writing full sentences, and completing mock conversations. They are very diverse, quick-moving lessons. And I should also mention that as you complete each lesson, you earn experience points, as well as Duolingo currency known as lingots. The XP points relate to your daily goals and allow you to track your progress, while the lingots can be used to purchase additional features from the Duolingo store. The whole idea here is that Duolingo is trying to sort of gamify your language learning journey. And that's probably a good place to start with the things that I do like about Duolingo. I really like the gaminess of it. Duolingo has this cool feel to it, like you're playing some kind of questing game or something alongside other users. You stack up points, buy features from the store, and see how you stack up. I thought that was pretty neat. And second, I love Duolingo's user experience. Their digital platform is awesome. There are tons of cool little motion graphics and visuals, and it just feels super modern and fun. And lastly, I like the variety and swiftness of the lessons, just like I did with Babbel. The lessons only take 5 to 10 minutes to complete and they're fun and easy to knock out. But what I will say here, and this is my first negative with Duolingo I guess, is that the lessons almost are too fast and light, to the point that I sometimes would complete a lesson and feel like I didn't even really learn much. Babbel's lessons, while similar in style, are a little longer and deeper. I think they're a more appropriate length. The next negative with Duolingo is that they use unnatural language. You'll frequently get weird phrases and drills like "the bed is fat" and "my horse collects teeth." It's just a little weird. I've read that they do this on purpose to make you think more about the grammar than the meaning of the words, but man, it does trip you up. And on that point of grammar, my third con here is that Duolingo is a lot lighter on grammar than Babbel and maybe even Rosetta Stone. There's just not much emphasis on direct grammar tips and lessons. I really prefer how Babbel weaves it in. And lastly, that free version that I mentioned, it isn't my favorite. They put daily caps on the number of mistakes that you can make before you get blocked out, and you get bombarded with ads. It's just super annoying. For the low cost of these programs, I would just pay up for the pro version of Duolingo if you go with them. Okay, final verdict. Should you go with Rosetta Stone, Babbel, or Duolingo? Well, if it's not already clear by now, I have a huge preference for Babbel among these three companies. While I like Duolingo's gamified style of learning and cool features like interactive short stories and motion graphics, to me they're just sort of gimmicky and the lessons aren't super effective. And with Rosetta Stone, I love the visuals and voice recognition technology, but the lessons are just super repetitive and it can be frustrating at times with no guidance in English. But with Babbel, I feel like you get the best of all worlds. Diverse, fast-moving lessons that only take 10 or 15 minutes, smart, efficient grammar lessons, spaced reviews, speaking practice, and a bunch of cool extras. For me, after using all three programs, I would say go with Babbel. They're my first choice and the program that I still use. And that's all I've got for you. I hope this was helpful and you learned a little something. If so, make sure to return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and dropping us a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full, detailed, in-depth written guide that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website, testprepinsight.com, or check out the rest of the videos on our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of great content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.